welcome to Let's Talk Email podcast number 4, I believe we're on. This podcast, we are going to have our very own Jay talk us through some CSS snow animations, going from the basic, which was a diagonal flare, to something a little bit more prettier and nicer. So if you are listening, I would highly recommend that you switch over to YouTube so you can look at Jay's beautiful code, which is a very good treat for the eyes, and it'll fill you with Christmas joy and spirit. I believe that's a good intro.
Yeah, that was a good intro. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah,
you did it for me last time, so gotta pay you back. So yes, I'm Stephen Sayer, an in-house email developer, and my lovely co-host Jay, who is an agency email developer, or head of email development, should I say, sorry. And also, just another note, I have been reading the comments on YouTube, and we were wrong about the person who created the Thinking Man statue. I am going to apologise and correct myself. So the Thinking Man statue is by August Rodin. So it wasn't Michelangelo or any other person. It was August Rodin. Yes, so I'm sorry for getting that wrong on the previous episode. But yes, we learn. So thank you for pointing that out. And actually, just another note, nobody's commented on the bits that I left in my email code either. So
winning.
Yeah, winning. So yeah, I'll hand over to you, Jay, and you can talk us through, share your screen, and do what you do.
Cool. Yeah, well, so first of all, the whole reason behind this was that back in 2018, I wrote a blog post for Email on Acid where I shared how you could have snow effect basically on your email, and it did very well and it was quite popular. And then every year, obviously this time of year, everyone kind of comes back to it and wants to put snow in their email, either for a Christmas email or Black Friday or New Year's or something like that. So it's obviously quite a good piece of content that continually grows and grows and grows. And every year since then, I've been saying I'm going to update it. And then the chaos of Black Friday sales, winter, Christmas happens, and then it becomes January, February, and I never get around to it again, and it all starts all over. So this year, the podcast has been a very good tool for me to be like, I have to get it done by a certain point.
Keeping you accountable.
Yeah. So it's made me do it. So it's a good thing. So let me share my screen, and then we will talk about how it works, basically. Okay. So
beautiful.
The first part of it is as simple as I am just setting up the HTML. So the HTML is going to be the same no matter how you implement this. You're just going to put the HTML at the very top of your email, right underneath either the wrapping div, which you can use which most people use now for accessibility, or if you've got a wrapping table, or literally just underneath the body tag. So the first thing in the top of your email should be this snowflake stuff. And then the first thing we do is wrap it in a div with a class of snowflakes, and then we hide it. So we want everything hidden from accessibility because we don't want this getting in the way of any of your work that's going on. So if you do have a pre-header, you probably want it above this so that it doesn't get pushed down by all of these characters. But if you're just putting the snow in there, then we're just hiding that whole thing so that no one gets spammed by 10 or 20 snowflakes as the first thing their screen reader gets when they first open it. So we're going to hide that completely. And then the next thing we do is just for every snowflake that we would like to come down our screen, we have a div with a class of snowflake, and then inside that, a div with a class of inner. And then it's up to you what the snowflake is, but I've just gone with the kind of emoji or Unicode character HTML entity of a snowflake. And that makes it a little bit prettier than the original version. But this is the original version that I wrote for Email on Acid back in 2018. So it used a circle that was just a container that had a border radius of 100% and was white. And then you could change the width and height of the container to make your snow bigger or smaller, depending on what you wanted. That would still work in this instance. So with the class of inner, you could do the same. You could just have a circular div, and then you could change the size of it. But I feel like the snowflake makes it a little bit prettier, maybe, than just a round white ball. Yeah.
The finer details.
I didn't think of it back then, to be honest. It's so obvious now when I thought about it. But
hindsight is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So then it started off with this, or I also included the option of having a background image where you could upload an image of a snowflake if you wanted to, and you could have that instead. One of the problems with that really is if you're using an image like 20 times, then like the load time and things like that, and if it is a background image, it will only load once it's needed, so it's going to take a little bit of while before it loads in your email. So sometimes you'd open the email and the snow wouldn't start for a little while, which actually added to the effect of it a little bit, of like you're opening a plain email and then all of a sudden there's a snow flurry. But it was a side effect, a feature rather than a bug, let's say.
Definitely.
Yeah, so it was like something else you could do, which you could still do in this instance. So if you just wanted to do it on the inner class, you could add a background image, again, set the width and height, and you could have any snowflake you wanted. So lots of options are still there. This original version, as Stephen said at the beginning, the way I set it up was it had a fixed height of a container, which is already a bit of a problem that you can see for emails where we've got our responsiveness of it. But it was the only way I could figure out how to do it back then, was having a fixed height. And then every snowflake started from one area at the very top of the email, and then it went diagonally down to another point at the bottom of the container. So all it did was float from one side to the other. And because I animated it slightly slowly and with like a linear animation effect, it meant that it kind of looked like it was a flurry. And the more snowflakes you got on there, you couldn't really tell. So it was kind of okay. But I just wanted to improve on that basically going forward. So here's the new one. So we've got the snowflakes on there. And then as you can see, they're all going down the screen. We haven't got a set a height, so that's amazing. It just works. And then we've got the snowflakes going kind of side to side and down. So a little bit more natural feeling of the snow kind of going down the screen. So the way this is set up, you've got the HTML at the top. You can have as many snowflakes as you would like. And then the CSS is kind of how it all kind of fits together. So we've got our snowflake class up here, and this is where you're going to set the majority of your styles. So on the color of your snowflake, then the font size, let's make it a little bit bigger, the color of your snowflake. So I've gone with white because that kind of made sense to me. And then the font size. So if you wanted to, you could make it really, really big. You can see the snowflakes absolutely massive. One of the benefits of using like the snowflake Unicode character is that you can make it as big or as small as you want. It's not going to get blurry or anything like that. Whereas with the other ones, with the background image anyway, you're kind of stuck with whatever size you've kind of put on it. And then moving down, it's got a little bit of a text shadow. So there's a little bit of a shadow kind of on the snowflakes. That makes it look a bit prettier. Isn't essential. You can get rid of that completely. And then this is kind of where the cool stuff happens. So where we've got position fixed, that means that it's staying where it is and it's not going to move anywhere. And then we originally start it 10% negatively from the top of the container or the whole email. So then that way it's out of view at the very beginning, and then they're all going to animate and come in when we want them to. Then the cursor we've just left as default rather than having like something on it that you could click on it. Pointer events, none. So that way if you happen to click on a snowflake, it's not going to try and do something. So you're not going to try and save the image or whatever it is, because obviously they're floating on top of everything else. We don't want them to get in the way.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah,
like if you're trying to select something in the email, is it going to just randomly catch a snowflake?
No. So yeah, that's the reason. Pointer events, none. Stops that with the CSS, so we're lucky with that one. And then yeah, we've got our animation name, which is the snowflake shake, which we're setting on the snowflake class. So the snowflake class around your inner is the one that's kind of moving left and right. So that is just moving left and right at the set speed, which I'll go to in a minute. And then we've got the duration, so 3 seconds, so quite slowly moving side to side. And then the timing function is ease in and out. So ease in and out means that the way the timing works is it slowly starts and then it slowly ends. So it kind of eases into the animation and then eases out of the animation at the same time. So if we change that to linear, it would just be the same speed the whole way across. Or if we just had ease, it would kind of ease into it, but it wouldn't ease out. So by having ease in out, it means the snow slowly moves across and then slowly moves back again, rather than kind of shooting across or shooting one way and not slowly back the other. So thinking about that. And then we move on to our snowflake and our inner. So we're talking about now the things that are going to happen for the whole of the animations for both the inner and the snowflake. We want it to run all the time, so it's on infinite. And then we want it to just keep running. So the play state is running. We could probably remove that, but if someone paused it or managed to stop it or anything, we want to override that.
It's kind of like with the animated GIF in Outlook, where they add the play button after it's finished playing so many times.
Yeah. So yeah, we want it running all the time, basically. Yeah. Yeah, and then we've got our two animations. So we're trying to keep it as simple as possible. So instead of in the original version, we go back to the code pen, the animation was where you kind of set up what was going on. So you had the time of how long the animation lasted, and then the delay of the animation. And then you had to play with that to kind of get them to kind of go down at a certain speed or delay going through. So the first one, the second one, and the third one. And you also set infinite all the time, a linear on every single one, whereas by breaking them up in the new one, we haven't had to repeat ourselves multiple times with those animations. And then every single snowflake had its own animation. So the keyframes for Snow 1, where it started was top and left, and then where it ended up was top and left 65. So this one didn't move very far. It went from the middle to slightly off center. So you had to set that up for every single snowflake. So there was quite a lot to think about with this one, with the length of time, the delay, and then you'd go and set the animation. Whereas with the new one, we're keeping the animation separate. So this is the going from the top of the email to the very bottom of the email, 110 VH. So VH is the vertical height. And by doing 110 means that 100 would be basically all the way from the top all the way to the bottom, but 110 means it's going to keep going past. And also you've set a minus 10% margin at the top. So it needs to start up there to go that little bit further. And then the snowflake shake is the side to side. So by having 0 and 100% at 0, and then at 50% it's 80 pixels, it means that it's kind of moving 80 pixels one way and then moving 80 pixels the other way, kind of shirking back and forth. And then here we've got the shake, the fall, sorry. So the animation on this is 10 seconds, and that's to give it a nice amount of time to fall down your email. So you can play with this number and you can change it. You can play with all the numbers in this, it's quite simple, but this one will just change how the kind of snow feels. So if we save it at only 2 seconds, and then go back to here and give a refresh, everything starts falling down a lot quicker. So if you want that effect, that's completely fine. The only problem with this is because you have set the animations to preset, you can see now where we've made it so quick, you can see the pattern that the snow's doing.
Yes.
Whereas where we had 10 seconds, all of them fell a little bit differently, and then that made it look a little bit more like random.
So you just need to spend more time fine-tuning all the...
Yeah, you'd have to change some of the numbers and bits and pieces. So, but 10 seconds is a nice kind of start to it, basically. And then we go down and we start choosing where everything starts. So we're using Snowflake, and that's the class that our inner is wrapped in. So every single one of them is Snowflake. And env of type allows me to, instead of having, like on the first code pen where we first started, you had Snow 1, Snow 2, so 3, and having to go through and change them. By just having it called Snowflake, and every single one of them is called Snowflake. And then env of type allows me to just say 0 is the first one, or the very, like it starts at 0. And then the first of type is the first one after the 0, and then so on and so on. So you can kind of env of type 2, env of type 3. So we're going like the env of type 3 is like the fourth one, basically. So I can't remember what that's called. What, 0? The numbers start counting at 0 instead of 1. There's probably a proper name for that, but I can't remember what it's called.
I know it's used in programming a lot, especially...
Yeah, JavaScript starts at 0.
Yeah,
CSS
languages.
Starts at 0. So, yeah. So we started that. And then basically for the Snowflake, we set our starting position. So left is 1%. And then the delay for the first one is 0 seconds. So we don't want to delay that at all. And then we've got the inner. We also don't want to delay the inner at all. So that's 0 seconds. Then we go down. We've got the first of type. We've got left 10%. So we want to start at 10% and then 1 second delay. And then coming down, we've got the inner as 1 second delay. And then basically we're just trying to group things together. So we also want the 9th snowflake. So 8 and 0 is 9. And we want that one to start at 1 second as well. So you can group all the ones with the same seconds together. So you haven't got to repeat them over and over and over again. And then, yeah, that's it really. So you can kind of group all the ones together. So anything that's 2 seconds can go together, 4 seconds, etc. And then you just go through and choose what you would like. So you're just choosing, as long as you match the snowflake, env of type, animation delay, and the inner animation delay as the same, then the where the div is that's containing the inner is going to start at exactly the same point as the inner itself, and they move down together. Whereas if you don't do that, it kind of goes a bit skew-iffy. It will still kind of work, but it wouldn't work as neatly. And that's it, really. You're just repeating that over and over again until you find kind of where you want to. And this is a good start where you've got 12 snowflakes, so 12 bits of HTML, 12 different snowflakes. You can start with this, and then, like I said, you can mess with the styles at the top. So you can change the color, change the size, add an image, etc. And then you could kind of play with the shake if you wanted to. So you can make the shake, say, 100 pixels. So if I do that and then change it.
I feel like you missed a callback opportunity and called it Harlem Shake. Sorry.
One day, no, names of CSS and naming of things is the bane of my life. I swear I spend more time trying to think of the name for something, especially when I'm trying to do like something that someone else has got to read.
Yeah.
Because one of my favorite classes I ever saw was from Ann Tomlin, and it was just a fix for Outlook, and it was just Outlook sucks. That was the name of the class, and I was like, that is the best name ever. I don't know. I think obviously she probably wasn't expecting many people to read that, but I was like, yes, classes like that. Quite obvious
it was
word.
descriptive, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah. You know exactly what's going on. Yeah. So that's it, really. So it's kind of simplified it, made it much easier to kind of build on. So everything, all the animations here. So you just repeat this bit basically as many times as you want to. And I feel like the number of like 12 is quite a good amount to cover a screen.
Yeah.
So if I go back to like the original size, so I think when I first kind of put it together, I kind of had it at 16 pixels, which is kind of the font size that most people start with for everything. So at 16 pixels is quite small, but depending on your email and the content that's in there, that might be quite good. But increasing it to kind of 24 pixels makes it stand out a bit more. And then you can play with the size, really, because the smaller ones like this, they don't interfere with the content at all. So you can still read everything. There's no problem with it kind of going over links, etc. You're not really going to catch them very much, whereas the bigger you go, there might be problems with it.
Another thing to consider is the animation and like the cognitive load of the person viewing it, because I know when it comes to like animated GIFs, if they repeat a lot or if they are very fast, it can put people off viewing the email or like really distracts people, so it takes away from the actual point of your email. And also,
you could.
Sorry.
No, I was you just reminded me. That's probably a good point, actually. So you could have prefers reduced motion. Pretty sure it's false. I'll look that up in a second. But what you could do is wrap all of the animations in prefers reduced motion. And then I haven't got that set, so it shouldn't. I've got it wrong. Let's have a look. And then prefers reduced motion. Did I do it right? Is the question.
This is live coding for you, folks.
Yeah. Here we go. Reduce, not false. So by having your animations within a prefers reduced motion, reduce, anyone that has set that they would like prefers reduced motion means that they won't see those animations. So I want the other one. Whatever.
What's the opposite of reduce?
No preference. There we go. Yeah, so if so in this instance, what I've done is if you have no preference, there is an animation. Whereas what the example was doing on MBN was saying you should put your animations in that is specifically for someone that wants it reduced. If you want to change them or you want to turn them off, you'd put it in that reduce. Whereas by hiding the animation in a no preference means it would only come on if you have no preference. So instead of like turning something off if someone chose to turn it off, I've just decided if you don't have a preference, I'll turn it on. So to kind of done it a little bit back. Like I tend to do that more with the animation that we do because I feel like it makes it more accessible. So by default, it won't have any animation. And then if you have no preference, we'll animate it rather than turning the animation off if you have it. Yeah. And then, there you go. So even more accessible. Thank you for that, Stephen. You reminded me of that.
That's the beautiful beauty of sharing your code with other people is that people think of things differently and can give you ideas and just make something better.
Yeah. So the one of the things I was thinking about when doing this code was how to make it simpler. And originally, all of the snow in the original email on Acid one was named individually. So Snow 1, Snow 2, Snow 3, Snow 4, etc. And I really wanted to kind of do that again, but the problem with that is that you can't just copy and paste it. You then have to like put in the next number, and then also it would start making the CSS a little bit harder to do. So you could do it so instead of snowflake, you had it as like class begins with snowflake. Oh, not two equals. Begins with snowflake. So then that would work the same, and then anything that had a class of snowflake would be like that. You'd have to go back and change what the original container, which was snowflakes, because that starts with snowflake. But apart from that, it would kind of work. And then you could come down here and you could probably do snowflake one, yeah, and then snowflake one here, and then you could kind of lose the nth of type. But the nth of type, I think, just makes it easier so that if you change the order of your snowflakes or you do something different with your HTML, it kind of is much easier to maintain. So if you, with the nth of types on here, if you removed them, it would kind of be easier to kind of change the order and things like that. It would all still work. And because this is CSS animation, it's only supported in some email clients, and the email clients that do support it do also support this nth of type. So Apple Mail, iOS Mail, Thunderbird, maybe Samsung Mail. So there's only going to be a few email clients that is supported. And in the email and Acid version also only supported a few email clients. So because CSS animation has such a small amount of support across email, it's kind of easier to kind of do it like that.
It's all always about progressively enhancing.
Yeah, so by default, these are all hidden. No one's going to see anything, so it's not in the way. And then, yeah, when it is possible, you can see it all. So, yeah, that's the plan, basically.
Another thought I had about the snowflake email, so it doesn't have to be literally just for snowflakes. There's also New Year, so you might want confetti or something like that.
Yeah. And you could use that nth of type as well to change the color. So if you made the shape of like a piece of confetti, then you could have that nth of type 0 could be like green, and then the 1 could be blue, and then that way you've set the shape, you've set the size, and then the nth of type could be the different colors of all the confetti, so it could pop down and do that.
Definitely.
I'm sure there's loads of other things as well, like spiders' webs for Halloween, or I don't know. There's probably like lots of things where something covering the screen would probably be kind of cool.
Yeah, it'd be good for people to drop their ideas in the comments.
Yeah, you've got the creative juices flowing now, Stephen. That's it now. I'm going to go away now and spend hours creating like not snowflakes, snowmen, falling snowmen. Yeah, and the other thing is you could do other things as well. So you could keep going with this and enhance it even more. So you could add another animation to the inner where you could spin the snowflake.
I was going to say add rotation.
Yeah, add rotation.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah. So there's that, and then I don't know what else. If you had a game like that video, like the mobile phone game that was Tanks, I can't remember the tank one.
World of Tanks?
World of Tanks. Yeah, maybe World of Tanks. I don't know. But like if you had a war-themed one, you could drop bombs. You could drop anything basically, because it's just going from the top of your email to the bottom. So you could do anything. And also you don't have to have multiple. So you could use the animation, strip it down to one, just have one thing fall from the top of your email to the bottom.
I'm thinking of the Super Mario character that sits on the cloud with the fishing rod and like has signs or whatever. He could animate him flying about.
Yeah. I mean, like now that you've kind of got, because basically you've got a container which is the full size of your email that's responsive now. So it's going to start at the top of your email, it's going to go to the bottom. Then the shake you could remove if you didn't want it to go from left to right. And then you could start at the top and go to the bottom. And at the moment, it's from one position and it's moving down. But you could take a little bit of code from the old one, and you could start at one place and then go like across to the other side. So something could float down and across your email. Could even be like a 25% sale, or like just a floating thing that comes down your email. Just progressively adding something. Yeah, we work with a pizza restaurant. It could be a pizza, it could be dough balls, it could be anything. Like you could literally come up with anything you wanted to. Raining dough balls. There you go. Rain dough balls on your email if you wanted to.
Where's the garlic dip?
Well, you could stick a pot diff at the bottom. Like one of the things, so I did actually have Z index on there to begin with. So I had Z index of like 9999 to
Yeah.
make sure it was in front of everything. But then realized that unless you're using that anywhere else in your email, then because of the position of the HTML, it's going to be above everything anyway. So you don't have to put a Z index on it. But if you did want to, you could put a Z index of like 2 or 3 on it or something, and then you could put a pot of garlic dip at the bottom and stick a Z index on it of like 1,000, and then that will always be in front, and the dough balls will always fall behind it. But I'm sure there's like you could like work on this idea and expand on it, and that's how all the interactive stuff starts. You start off with a click to reveal where you just click on something and something pops up, and then you're like, oh, what if I put that click somewhere over here, and then click on it, and then something over here appears, and then you just build on it from there, right? Same with everything. So yeah, go crazy with it. And yeah, the article should hopefully be out on Email on Acid, or will be out on Email on Acid shortly when this episode comes out. So anyone can go on there and find the code. And I'll make sure I give the link to Stephen as well to just the original code. I've also toyed with, I don't know what you think about this, Stephen. So I was going to put it on an external style sheet and just have a link to it. So then people could just, because Apple Mail and the email clients that do support this support externally linked CSS style sheets. So I could just host it on a CDN somewhere, and then you'd only have to drop in your HTML, drop the link tag at the top,
Yeah,
and
I
you're
was
all
just thinking about the dropping in the HTML part. I'm just trying to think, wasn't there a way to add in like text using CSS? Like, I can't remember what it was
yeah, there's
called.
you can do content, so you can do after with content inside it in your
Yes.
text. Yeah.
Maybe, oh, well, this is just an off the cuff thought. Would it be possible to add this, literally the HTML for the snowflakes through that external style sheet as well? Because then anybody could just literally drop the external style sheet in, and by magic, the snowflakes appear.
Well, I could work on it and think of another version. I mean, I could essentially the way that it could work is that if I used the body tag and then used the after pseudo class to add a div like something after the body tag
Yes, yeah.
and did the same stuff, then that would all be adding content via CSS. So yeah, there could be a way to do it all completely with an external style sheet.
Yeah,
You're just giving me. You're just making sure I don't go to bed, Stephen, aren't you? You're just like that's
keep
like
working.
nerd snipe Jay, get him working for another few hours, and yeah, he'll come up with something. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to be sat editing this podcast, so it's only fair.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea actually. Yeah. It would be cool if you could just add a style sheet and then it worked. That would be really cool if that could work. I'll
Because
definitely look into that. Yeah.
not everybody's blessed with a lot of time to build emails, or maybe have time to think of how they want it to be animated. They might just have a tight deadline and be like, right, let's add some snow. And then they can just literally add that external style sheet and all the magic's done for them.
Yeah. And then you could extend it even more. And I'll do it with CSS variables in the style sheet. And then you could just add your variables in the HTML that you have if you wanted to, or the CSS. And then you could change the height, and you could change the size of the snow, the color of the snow, the speed, all with variables.
It sounds like you just want to build a tool to make the snow, basically.
Yeah, it's going to turn its own mini side project. You're going to be able to add snow to your email. Yeah. No, there's definitely loads of things you could do.
Snow generator.
Yeah, or even like you could add, if it does work with that external style sheet, then that was all you needed to add, then adding that into your email design system would be really easy as well. So similar to what we did in the last episode where we talked about email design systems, you could have it at the top, and if you had an editor where you could toggle it on and off, or it was just commented out at the top and then you uncomment it when you want snow.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. So you could definitely build it into your design system and make it something that you turn on and off whenever as well.
We have an event coming up. Let's add some snow or confetti or
Yeah, anything you want. Yeah.
raining money.
Oh, money, yeah. I mean, if it does work with the after and the content, which it probably does now, thinking about it, then any text character could go in there. Whether it works with emojis, I'm not sure, but yeah, you could probably put any. I think it does. So I think you could put any emoji in there. So then you could have a bunch of smiley faces coming down your email if you wanted to, or anything like that. So yeah, completely extendable, progressively enhance it. And the whole idea with this is that the whole idea of every piece of code that I ever share on blogs is so that you get a start of something, and hopefully I explain it well enough that you understand what the different parts are doing. So then you come up with all of these ideas and you're like, oh, I can take that thing as a building block and then create something on top of it.
It's
Yeah.
having that curiosity of why does it work like this? What happens if I just change this number and it breaks, and then you accidentally come up with something that's really good,
Yeah.
which does
Exactly.
happen.
Yeah.
Happy
And
mistake.
hopefully, like, there might be better ways to do it as well. So if there's even more concise and better ways to do it, then yeah, definitely share away and help other people. And yeah, I'm sure if you wanted to, you could like get in contact with me, and then I'll put you straight in contact with email and acid people, and then you can add your little note on it to be like, oh, you can change this or whatever. They're very open to ideas and talking to email developers, so it would be a cool thing to do.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is going to be our shortest episode yet, to be honest.
Well, unless you want to talk about anything else, you've seen, any emaily things. You know what I've seen a lot of so far? Wrapped emails. A lot of wrapped emails.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
I think you saw the email weekly that we did, the Halloween one, where we had like the
Yes, that was really good.
yeah. So that was all data with a team called Multiplied Studios, and they specialize in taking data and making it look fancy, and then also making it personalized with animation. So instead of having like a static image, so like Spotify Wrapped or one of those kind of emails, you kind of get, you listen to 1,000 hours of music, but it's just an image with the 1,000 hours written in it, and everyone gets that personalized image, but it's static.
Yeah.
Whereas the team over at Multiplied, their speciality is taking that piece of data, but then also animating it so it would like roll in or like spin or do whatever it is. But the cool thing about the Action Rocket one was we literally had no data because we don't collect anything. So we literally have like your name, the amount of times you've opened an email because we just have opens, and the amount of times you've clicked, and that was pretty much the only data. And we didn't even have like the type of clicks, or we also had when you joined, so when you subscribed. So just by default,
Yeah.
most ESPs have like when you first sign up or something. So yeah, we didn't have a lot of data, but from those 4-5 points of data, talking it out with the Multiplied team, and with Bex, who's our marketing strategy person, they, because they have brains that work that way, they were like, oh, we could like take this and like twist it and do this, or we could take that piece of data and like, how many opens could someone have done if they opened every single email from when they started, and how many emails have they done? So then you're like, oh, you've opened 30% of the emails we've sent you, or that kind of stuff. So they've
Yes.
only got like 2 or 3 points of data, but they can kind of manipulate them enough that you can do things. So even if you're sitting there thinking, I don't have any data, like I don't have orders, I don't have discounts, I don't have anything, you probably do have something that you can build a, a campaign out of if you want to do Wrapped. I saw a coffee email the other day that just said that in the past year they had sold like 1 million cups of coffee. So it wasn't even like a wrapped personalized; it was just like a
Yes.
wrapped
Yeah.
company. So like they kind of spun it that way. And that they did have like my favorite coffee that I had bought as well. So it was kind of personalized, but it had like some other data from the year. Yeah, definitely something to do.
Yeah. So wrapped emails are definitely something that are very common. Is it always the same date as well that come out, or is it just
I'm not sure. So the
around?
Spotify one tends to come out around the same kind of time of year, but we've worked with brands that send one monthly with an on your stats. So it's like your month wrapped of what you've done.
Yeah,
Um,
like a membership
some people
kind
send
of
it.
email.
Yeah, some people. Yeah, you could probably send it. I don't think we've done this, but we've spoke about it. But you could probably send it to someone on their membership date, so on their renewal or when they're about to renew. So that could be a really good thing if you're like, I know, say you were Sky Sports or Netflix or something, and it's coming up to renewal time, and then you're like, oh, do you realize you've watched 10,000 hours and you saw like this football match and that football match, would you want to miss out on that? Probably not. You should probably renew. And then
Yeah.
like, so you're kind of using wrapped as in a cool way to tell them what they've done, but then also prompting them to be like, oh, you kind of want to renew it. You want to keep that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's lots of applications of kind of taking that data and like giving it to someone.
Another trend that I've seen, yeah, I think it was Jenna Mystery that she put on LinkedIn about those like fake apology statuses and images where it's like, sorry, our prices are so cheap and affordable that you just have to spend your money with us. And at first, when it was just like I only saw one of these, it did catch my attention, but then after I saw lots of companies doing it, I literally said on the comment on Gina's post was it just made me eye roll, literally eye roll every time I saw one, because it's just like, oh, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's similar. That's very similar to the whole looks like a leaked internal email as well. You know,
Oh
when
yeah, I've seen a few of those as well.
Yeah. I kind of I like the creativity, but
Definitely.
then it's exactly like what you said, right? It's the person that does it for the 10th time. You're like, oh, this is the same old thing. So yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, like I mean, we come up with things like that all the time, just random things that we're like, oh, should we try this and see what happens? And sometimes it gets through approval and sometimes it doesn't. But if you're the first one to do it, you might be cool, or like the second or third, because like you probably don't share many customers with it or whatever. But yeah, after a little while, it's same like the other day. What was the one that Bloom and Wild? I think are the first people that were like unsubscribe from Mother's Day or something.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah, and that one was like, oh, that's really thoughtful and well thought out and like stuff like that. And then everyone started to do it, and it was like, I'm not really sure. And also the way that people were doing it was not great as well. So yeah, a lot with that particular use case, like it would every year you'd get an email to say, do you want to opt out of Mother's Day? And it was like, well, if I've opted out once, I probably want to opt out every single time. So, and you just if it is something that bothers me, you've just rebought it up again.
Yeah, opening old wounds.
Yeah. So yeah, and also like up to like Bloom and Wild has a very good reason, because you probably do want to send flowers for Mother's Day, and they're probably going to send a load of emails about it. Whereas your bank, something that's like, do you want to opt out of Mother's Day? And you're like, what? Why does that matter to you? Like, it's
what have you got to do with Mother's Day?
Yeah. So I'm sure there's like there's proper applications for it, and some that are not quite correct. But yeah, or even like the forward or the RE, like the reply subject line.
I believe it's called a dark pattern. But that is one dark pattern I don't really like personally. Every time I see it, it's like, I haven't been contacted by you before. I know this isn't a reply. So why try and make it look like a reply?
Yeah. I know there was I'm pretty sure it was Washington State. There was a company got a really big fine for a misleading subject line. So it's now like a thing, like it's definitely a no-no now especially if you're in the US, which is obviously a little bit more litigious, and they're going to like bring up things like this more often. But yeah, anyone that does fake subject lines or misleading subject lines really needs to be careful of legal cases now, where you could probably have got away with it before. I don't know if the forward and reply would come into that. Like if all you did was put RE and then did your normal subject line, I don't know how that is misleading, but I don't know how misleading it needs to be to like get you fined.
Yes.
Yeah, you should obviously think hard before sending a subject line that might be misleading. Yeah. Oh, and talking about subject lines, did you ever see that tool that Dylan made it, but I think someone else made another version, the bad subject line one?
Yeah. So if it gets cut off at the wrong point, so analytics turns into anal, or
yeah. Or like acceptance turns into arse or something. Yeah. So think about your subject lines in that way as well. Yeah, if you are talking about analytics, then you could
find you don't want that word getting cut. Hey, it might make your email a bit more memorable.
Yeah.
I mean, factor.
Yeah, people that like analytics might like other things too. I don't know. Yeah,
we don't judge.
Cool.
On that bombshell of a
Yeah.
realization, I think we're good to end there, unless there's anything else you want to touch on.
No, I was just going to say that I've actually noticed a flurry of
Flurry
conference.
snow.
Yeah, there you go. Put it back. Of conferences being announced. So things like Parcel Unpacked is coming back. So that's in like January or February. There's the marketing professionals, like Smaley have put one together again of like marketing professionals,
Okay.
and that's in March. And Litmus Live is coming back as well. I think that's January, February as well. So there's a few.
That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah. We'll see about that one. Yeah. But yeah, there's a few like conferences like being announced that are happening very early in the new year. So if you're thinking about it, like going to any or anything, like all of those ones are online actually.
Yeah.
But they're definitely worth like having a search out for email conferences now. They're kind of, I don't know why it's all of a sudden like in the last few weeks they've just all of a sudden been, everyone's been announcing that online conferences are coming back.
There
And things like that.
was someone on Email Geeks that used to collate all the conferences and have
I
it on
haven't
a
seen
link.
it for a while. Oh, Randy Levy. You were very close with Revy, but yeah, Randy Levy.
I just shortened it into.
Yeah. He definitely used to. The Taxi for Email used to have a list of them, but then that dropped off. So yeah, I don't actually know of a central place where there is email events listed. So there is the email events channel on Email Geeks if anyone's on there, where you can go on there and people like announce events or they announce webinars and speaking opportunities for events and stuff like that. So if you're looking at doing that, then that's a really good channel. But yeah, no, there did used to be a few places where you could see a list of events, but no, I've not seen one. Maybe that's
collating things.
Another thing that you want me to build, Stephen. Is that what you're saying?
No, I might be able to turn my hand at that one.
Oh, there you go. See, yeah. But yeah, no. I mean, yeah. So there's more coming up, and like the Unpacked one is dev focused. So if you are an email dev like me and Stephen, then there probably is some development stuff on there.
Or if you're interested in looking to get into development.
Yeah, there's from what I've seen of like Naomi organizes it, and there's a few talks on there that are not like beginners, and then there's other stuff that's a bit more advanced. So there's something for everyone. It's design as well, and like it does cover more than just development, but the majority of it I think used to be development. So I haven't seen the lineup. Yeah, that's coming out, and then go out there, find the events. Best way to talk to people. There's normally a networking chat as well. So and me and Stephen will be on there because that's what we want to do.
We're always in there making comments, causing chaos.
Yeah.
Or making lots of puns, I do. If anything's punny, I'll create the dad jokes.
I do like it when I do a talk and you're on there just heckling me. I feel like I've made it.
You. Not that bad anyway.
No. There is a few people that do quite enjoy it, actually. Like ask me something, like question me, see what's happening. That's the way it should be, yeah.
Rabbit in the headlights. They're in the headlights. It's like, moving on. No, that's great. It's weird how they all the events kind of fall around the same time though.
I think it's like you know when it's because Black Friday, right? So everyone's like October, they're like, I don't want to bother anyone, and then November is the whole month of like, no, let's not do it, and then it's Christmas. So I guess it's 3 months with nothing, and then everyone's like, right, let's get it in. Like, let's do January, February, March. Yeah.
Oh yeah. When you put it that way, it makes sense.
Yeah, because I guess there's not many email developers or email marketers that are available in November to go and spend 8 hours watching a conference, I imagine.
Definitely not. Well, for me anyway.
Me neither. No, I can't think of anyone that would have time. So
okay, cool. Well, thanks for that, Jay. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, thank you.
And join us again next time. I believe our next episode it'll be definitely be in the new year. And it will be a guest appearance again.
Ooh.
And we'll announce it close to the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.